Here's something nobody tells you about persuasion. You can have the best argument, the clearest logic, the most airtight case for why someone should do what you are asking, and they still won't do it. Not because they're stupid, not because they're stubborn, but because you made a mistake so common, so invisible, that most people go their entire lives without realizing they are making it. Dale Carnegie figured this out almost 100 years ago, and the way he explains it in this chapter is unbelievable. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. You will notice it in every failed negotiation, every ignored email, every argument that went nowhere. I'm going to break down exactly what that mistake is, and more importantly, I'm going to show you the examples Carnegie uses to fix it. Real letters, real conversations, real situations where someone went in from being completely ignored to getting exactly what they wanted. But first, let me tell you about a fifth. Carnegie opens this chapter with one of my favorite analogies in the entire book. He says, I often went fishing up in Maine during the summer. Personally, I'm very fond of strawberries and cream, but I found that for some strange reason, fish prefer worms. And then he delivers the line. So when I went fishing, I didn't think about what I wanted. I thought about what they wanted. This may sound obvious, almost too obvious, but here's the thing. Carnegie isn't talking about fish. He's talking about you, me, and everyone. I call this the strawberries and cream trap. The strawberries and cream trap is when you walk into a conversation thinking about what you want, what you need, why they should help you. And look, it makes sense. Of, of course, you are thinking about yourself. You are the one who needs something. But here's the truth. The only way to influence anybody is to talk about what they want and show them how to get it. Not what you want, but what they want. He quotes Henry Ford on this. Ford said that if there's any one secret to success, it lies in the ability to get the other person's point of view and see the things from their angle as well as your own. Simple, almost annoyingly simple, but what's what happens when people ignored it? The story is kind of boring, but it is very important, so listen carefully. Carnegie says a letter in this chapter, a real letter, and it's painful. It's from a radio station manager writing to a hotel owner, trying to get information for the program they were doing. And the entire letter, I'm not exaggerating, but the entire letter is about themselves, what they want, what they are doing, why it matters to them. Let me rephrase it for you. It basically said, we are a radio station. We want to be a leader in our field. We'd like information about hotels. Please send it to us because we need it. Now, that's it. That's the pitch. No mention of what the hotel owner gets out of it. No benefit, no reason to care. Just, hey, do some free work for us. And you're there probably thinking, why would anyone respond to this? They wouldn't, and they didn't. Carnegie rewrites the letter. Same request, same goal, but completely different frame. The rewritten version opens by talking about the hotel owner's success. It positions the radio program as a way to feature the hotel, to give them publicity, to put them in front of an audience. Suddenly, the request isn't a favor, it's an opportunity. Same as opposite result. This is the contrast you need to burn into your brain. Before, I want, I need, help me. After, here's what's in it for you. The first version is strawberries and cream, what I want. The second version is worms, what they want. Now you might be thinking, okay, that works for business letters, professional stuff, but does this actually work in real life? With children, with family, with people who already know about you? Carnegie has a story about that too, and it involves a 3-year-old kid who absolutely did not want to go to the kindergarten. I'll get to that in a second, but first, there's another example in this chapter that I think is even more clever. Carnegie talks about a woman whose sister-in-law had 2 sons who were at college, and these boys just wouldn't write home, reply nagगर्ने. The grandmother was sending letters constantly, begging them to reply, guilt-tripping them about how worried she was, but nothing. So this woman, the aunt, decides to try something different. She writes both boys a casual letter, just chatting, mentions a few things here and there. Oh, and by the way, she's enclosing $5 for both of them, except she doesn't actually put the money in the envelope. So within days, दुईटा केटाले रिप्लाई गर्छ आन्टीको लेटरमा. So within days, दुईटा केटाले रिप्लाई गर्छ भने Dear Aunt, so and so, यताउता, lovely to hear from you. Thank you so much for your letter, but you mentioned $5. $5 and we didn't see it. She got them to reply by making them want something. Now, some of you are already thinking that's manipulative, that's manipulation. And I get it. I had the same reaction the first time I read this. But Carnegie addresses that direct. He's not saying to trick people or exploit them. He's saying to align what you want with what they want. The grandmother's letters were all about her worry, her feelings, or her need for connection. But the aunt's letter, even though it was little sneaky, focused on something the boys actually cared about. And look, I'm not saying to lie to your family, not at all. That's not the point. The point is, every time you are asking for something, you need to stop and ask yourself, what's in it for them? Okay, so अब त्यो 3 वर्षको नानीको example है. Carnegie tells the story about a father who was completely stuck. His son refused to go to kindergarten. रोएर लथरपथर गरेर Dad was frustrated. Nothing was working for them. Then the father tried something different. He sat down that night and asked himself, what does my son actually want? What excites him? The boy loved finger painting. He loved playing with other children. He loved feeling like a big boy and not a baby. So the next morning, the father and mother sat down at the kitchen table and started finger painting. Can I do that? Then the father replies, oh no, you have to go to kindergarten. to learn how to finger paint. And just like that, the resistance flipped. The kid wasn't being dragged on to school. He wanted to go because now school wasn't something being forced on him. It was the place where he could do the things he already wanted to do. Carnegie writes, this aroused in him an eager want. Now that phrase, an eager want, that's the whole chapter. That's the whole principle. You are not convincing anyone of anything. You are finding out what they already want and showing them that your request is the path to getting it. Here's what I want you to learn from this. Most people walk through life stuck in their own head. And I don't mean that as an insult, I do it too. We all do. When we want something, we think about why we want it. When we need help, we think about why we need it. But the person on the other side of that conversation, they are doing the same thing. They're stuck in their head, thinking about their wants, their problem, their priorities. And when two people show up to a conversation both thinking about themselves, nothing happens, or worse, resentment, argument happens, doors close. Carnegie's principle isn't about being fake. It's about being curious. Actually curious about what the other person cares about. Actually willing to step out of your own strawberries and cream fantasy long enough to figure out what worm they are hungry for. पहिला के थियो I want you to do this for me. अनि अहिले के छ Here's something you want. Let me show you how to get it. I want you to do this for me. अहिले के छ Here's something you want. Let me show you how to get it. Same goal, same approach, different results. Now, if this actually works for you, and if you are sitting there thinking about a conversation you need to have differently now, drop a comment. I want to know about your situation. And if you want me to break down the other chapters like this, subscribe. I'm going through the whole book, chapter by chapter, pulling out the stuff that actually matters. Because honestly, reading this book once isn't enough. You have to see the examples, you have to understand why they work. That's what I'm doing here. See you in the next one.